Hi everyone, thank you for joining me again. So as I mentioned in the previous video, I said that I would show you the construction of the diode that I'm going to do for the four-wheel drive WW1 truck. This is a bit of an arty shot showing the materials that I used. So this is basically embossed plastic sheet. It's quite thick as you can see there, and I've used this quite often in the past. Now I used three different patterns. I used granite sets for the road surface. I used this particular one for the retaining wall that's on the diode, and then I used another one to basically show another wall. The balsa wood, this balsa wood was used throughout, obviously another sheet of it, and it was a case of cutting it to various lengths and using it on the diode, and believe it or not, even this piece of foil was used on the diode, because what I wanted to do, I was using this balsa wood as the capping stones for the wall, and I wanted to give them some texture. And I'd obviously watched other YouTubers, and they used roll up foil to indent in the. They usually use the extruded foam, but I wanted to see if it worked on balsa wood, and it does as well. So that gave it some of the brickwork some texture. So I'll get the diode. As I say, it's just constructed now, and I need to get on and paint it and weather it. But I'll basically try and explain the process. So here it is, guys. Now what I did was, the thick piece of balsa that you saw in the previous shot, that was going to be used as my base. And then what I did, I cut out some triangles to use for the slope, to get the slope. And I cut two triangles out. And basically this was going to be a straightforward, simple job. Slapping this granite set plastic on top of those two triangles, and basically glue this to one of the triangles, and then glue the other triangle to this plastic here, and Bob's your Uncle, Fanny's your aunt. That was it. But I tell you, this thing had me scratching my head. It really did. I couldn't just put the granite sets on top of this plastic, because there was no depth to the curbs. So I had to have something that had some depth. So I had to change what I was going to do by putting some balsa wood along here and having these like capping stones again. But that also meant that although I wanted a triangle to sit underneath this to give it some support, I need another triangle for the wall to go on and for the sets to go on top. So I had to cut a third triangle, making sure that I'd left enough depth on the top to fit this balsa on. Now, as I say, I just used that thickness of balsa sheet all the way through this build, so you know those are the same thickness as those. This blanking sheet piece here is also the same thickness. The triangles were the same thickness, so it certainly made me think about the construction. Once I'd got all the thing built, it was then down to doing the length of the blocks and the texturing on them. So that was a bit kind of, how can I put it? It was a bit, I wouldn't say stressful, but I was a bit worried that I wouldn't be able to get these lines straight. If there's one thing I cannot do, is get bloody straight lines. When I cut the triangles, there was they weren't cut flush. There was a slight angle on them, so they kept wanting to fall over whilst I was trying to test fit things. But as you can see, I managed to get my capping stones done, and then what I did was, as I say, I got the foil and I pressed it into the balsa wood, and it's left indentations, hopefully in a reasonably natural manner. I then kind of got my craft knife, and I chipped some of the I chipped the capping stone here, and I did it a couple of places on here as well. So this was all inspired by a photo of one of the trucks. It was coming up the slope from a wharf. This wall here is actually, in the photo there's a road the other side, and there's some soldiers kind of leaning against the wall looking at what's going on. If I'd wanted to make this a bit more extravagant, then I would have perhaps put the footway on the other side of the wall and had some soldiers standing around. There's a second vehicle going on this, so I've got the trucks, the truck and the second vehicle are going to be on the slope part, obviously. So this is where it's actually a river where this wharf is, and I didn't realise it. I think it was the River Liffey, and I thought, where the hell's that in France? And I had to look it up. It's not in France at all, it's in Ireland. So the truck, I can't work out whether it was part of whether it was an Irish Army vehicle or whether it was like a British Army vehicle. So yeah, this was all in Ireland. So the river comes up, obviously, I believe, if it's a tidal river, comes up a bit. Thinking about it, it may not. I'll have to have a look, see whether the Liffey is a tidal river. And of course, if it is, then I need to make sure that I've got some algae or something along a certain line on this wall, and whatever I do here needs to be matched up on here as well, you know, having a line of algae and so on. And that's why I was talking about the weathering of the truck. Now, why was the truck coming up the ramp? Well, the story goes that there were 3 huge like casks of tobacco thrown in the River Liffey, not tea, tobacco, and the truck went down. I think obviously some guys decided they were going to get the tobacco back, so the truck went down the ramp and onto the muddy section of the riverbank, and it got stuck. And so the photo is of it being retrieved. I shall leave it at that with regards to the description. So anyway, I got to confess, I surprised myself doing this. I know that, you know, I didn't painstakingly make all these indentations for the stones and for the granite sets and for the wall here, but nevertheless, it really did have me scratching my head. And obviously, as you can see, I managed to achieve a reasonable result so far. Obviously, I could screw it all up with the weathering of it, so we'll have to see. Obviously, the white sections you can see is the Tamiya putty that I needed to fill in, where it perhaps didn't join up quite right. So one of the things I need to do now is, I've started on this one, is to take some of the sections of plastic out so it looks as if there's a bit of damage there. The problem I can't do it on the cobbles because that's hollow. So if I put anything in there, it's going to possibly fall through underneath. So I can't really touch these with regards to wearing them down. But I can at least put some stones missing in the walls and perhaps have some foliage growing out of there. So there we are, guys. I think I explained that to death, to be honest. Thanks ever so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Look after yourselves, and I'll catch up with you soon.